join me at some point here. I don't know where he is, but now I'm trying to see whether we've got invalid response to Picardo. That's not good, but I'm not that worried yet. Looks like everybody else is connected today, which is nice. So we'll see where we'll see. So I got totally into Thingiverse, and now I am doing something that's probably ridiculously stupid, but it's going to be really cool if it works. And so that's what I'm working on at the moment today on the show. Hopefully we will have Pepper, or I don't know where Pepper went. Let's see if he's joining me yet. I'll just put join me when you can. Okay, there we go. So let me explain a little bit of what kind of terrible, horrible stuff I'm doing right now. And this is back to the every so often you have to do something for yourself that's fun, right? I mean, you have to do something that's fun for yourself. So that's what I'm doing now. This is ridiculous and silly, but it's going to be fun if I can get it to work. So I got yesterday my 3D printer, and now I'm looking forward to figuring out what to do with my 3D printer. And so I figured the first thing I should do is probably a comm badge. I'm still missing from my Star Trek comm badges. I'm missing the original TNG comm badge. You can see behind me right here, there, right there. That's my Voyager badge. But I'm missing a TNG comm badge. So I was like, oh, you know what I'll do? I'll print up a TNG comm badge. Well, I went and found online on Thingiverse a TNG comm badge. Looks great. It's beautiful. But then I found while going around that somebody had made a comm badge with internals. So like all of the little circuits inside it. And I'm like, well, I got to do that because that one's even cooler. But it's as awesome as it is, it's missing a few important things. And so I'm like sitting there like, well, how can we level this up? And somebody should have stopped me a long time ago. Anyway, so this is what I'm doing now. And we'll wait for let's do this. There we go. So here is the comm badge I'm working on right now. And if nothing else, even though this isn't part of my show generally speaking, this is good practice. So the original comm badge came with a top and an underside. And the underside has a divot cut into it for a magnet, and then the guy's signature and stuff like that. And I guess he just made this because it says 2021. And we're only 15 days into 2021. This is gorgeous. This is totally gorgeous. But there's a couple of things. One, comm badges generally have the serial number of the person and the name on the back. And that means that I'm going to have to make this flush somehow, which means raising this magnet section up so that I can do that. So we're going to do a couple of things because this is becoming super ridiculous. Anyway, the first thing I'm going to do is I duplicated the plate here. And then also looking at pictures of the comm badges online, where they have the internals, there's a green plate underneath this plate that has circuitry on it, and people were just painting in here and just painting this green. And I was like, well, yeah, but you could do better if we raised all of these things up. So made this as one layer with holes in it like this, and then made a bottom plate that I could paint the graphics on, or even better, take and print the graphics and lay them on there. And then once you print the graphics, then they're all sharp and nice and pretty. And underneath here, so that was my first mistake. I say that because I'm now deep into this. So what I've done is taken this level here and I cut everything but this part of it out, right? And now I'm going through and deleting the under part here. This would be the green trim underneath it there that would normally be painted green. And I was actually over here. I'm going to have to go back and fix stuff because obviously like these two pieces are not connected. You can see that they're not connected at all. This isn't even connected to the wall. So this would just be floating. And once it printed, it'd just be some little piece that would be, which, maybe that wouldn't be bad and that wouldn't be a problem. But I'm going to see if I can't make it all one unit so that I can just pull all of it off as one unit. And then you just lay it on top of the back piece. You have to glue it all in anyway. But if I do this, one of the other things we can do is put in my serial number, my name, Starfleet, all that stuff on the back of the comm badge. I'm also looking at some of these models and feeling like my miniature time might come in handy here because I might be able to take and put in some of the, I was noticing that some of these things have the little, when I look at pictures of the internals here, they've got ID numbers and things like that on them that are really, really, really small. So the thought process here is that I will be able to, and by the way, this whole thing is because I did not contact Pepper in time and completely got caught up in this silly game that I'm playing right now. Gotta be very careful when we're in here this close because we want to cut this stuff out right here because we're going to connect it later with something else. But any of these flat surfaces, see how it's kind of attaching itself to the wall there? Any of these flat surfaces they won't double side and the printer won't know what to do with them. So I've got to make sure I kill everything in here. Right, so we're going to go through here like this, and we're going to do this. I feel like we're in like the Death Star trench run here. Kind of moving along this trench, trying to get all these little. I'm going to reconnect it at some point in here. Oh, I clicked the wrong button. Now, this isn't the only weirdness that I have done this week. I actually have done some work. I built the captain's chair for the ship and watched the end of Man in the High Castle. Just saying. It's important work, apparently. There we go. Ooh, you caught part of that. Let's not do that. Just these guys, please. There we go. These guys. We're going to do the same thing in this little trench right here. This is kind of tedious, and I'm, of course, for me, I'm kind of like, well, this is going to be fun when it's done. This isn't the only tedium we're going to have, though, with this. At some point here, we're going to have to seal all of these widgets. Because even though this will print flat on the printer bed, it still needs to, we still need to inform the printer that they are sealed on the bottom. They have to, all objects must be watertight in order to print. And so right, so I just lost it. Sometimes Blender just wanders way off target, and you're like, well, thanks, Blender. That was nice of you. Catch these guys over here. There we go. So I'll just do this. At some point, I'll come back in here and I'm going to put sprues effectively between these guys. And the sprues, like I'll put a little piece of something. I'll Boolean in a connector between these two that'll make it a sprue. And the same over here. And then that way, there'll be a small connector going between here and the outer shell. Right? Just like I'm going to put a sprue between those two, and then the same thing here, and then maybe one right here. That'll keep all of this unit sort of connected together so that it's not sort of falling apart. Next question is there any gap between that? No, there really isn't. Okay, good. That would have been irritating to have to go through that. And then like this guy sits all by his lonesome self, so he's going to have connection to things. This guy's got some pieces there that are, I make sure that there's nothing between all of these guys. There we go. That's some. So we're going to go through here and do that. Just like that. And you're really close here. Maybe that's closest we can get. No, we want these guys right here. And this model was not created by me, by the way. In case you guys were worried, wondering. I didn't create this model. I'm just modifying it. All right. There we go. So now we've separated out the internal gutsoid here from the bottom runner. And this is going to be tough. The next piece here is going to be kind of difficult. I'm going to have to figure out how to drop all of this stuff down to the level of below the outer ring. Because we're going to have to patch it all up on the underside, right? Because you look underneath it, and now what we have is a whole bunch of open boxes that need to be raised. So things like this guy's going to have to be sealed. All of this is going to have to be sealed, and then dropped down so that it's at the same level as this. Otherwise, the printer is not going to print anything at that point. It's just going to leave it wide open. So we're going to fix that next. And I'm going to stare at this for a second to try to see if I can't think of a better, faster, stronger way of doing all of this stuff. Double checking. Let's see what we've got going on today. If I don't see Pepper in the next, say, 15 or so minutes, there's no reason for you guys to hang with me while I sit here and do Star Trek stuff. So we're going to probably abandon the show for today, which is fine. I think Pepper and I might consolidate our Wednesday and our Friday shows into just our Wednesday shows or just our Friday shows. So I'll have a talk with Pepper and see what Pepper wants to do if he doesn't show up in the next 15 minutes or so. In the meantime, let's take a look, and we'll move it over into dot mode here. All right, we're going to be trying to kind of keep an eye on how everything works here. One of the other things I'm going to need to do is adjust this a little. This guy here needs to have a magnet underneath him. So we're going to have to raise all of this platform up. Right, so these guys are going to be kind of difficult to grab. Uh-oh, we're in that mode. I need to figure out what was the command to center in. There is a method to center on an object or a thing, because we're going to have if any of you guys happen to know how to do some of these Blender commands. I feel like we could take the center core. Wonder if I could do this sideways, like from the side. Right. And from here, it's kind of hard to see everything in naked mode. Naked mode. But we know that this is going to be our ultimate. Let's bring this all down to an actual line so that whenever I'm in here messing with this, it's on an actual line. Everything else is on the construction line. I raise this up so that we can not be interfering with all of the other objects that are in here. So there we go. I'll put this in edit mode. All of this stuff here needs to be dropped down. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just select this, and then we're going to move it right down to here. We're going to take a look and see what that was. Ironically, literally the only piece that we don't need to mess with. But it's out of the way. So that helps us a whole lot. Right? That's I know it sounds weird, but that helps us because now we can grab this layer right here and bring it down to here. Right? And now we can take a look and see what pieces ended up down here, which actually looks like pretty much everything that we needed in one unit. Perfect. There are some small exceptions, but nothing major. For example, this section is going to have to come back up because it actually belongs to this section. Right? But this big group right here is the only group that doesn't actually belong to the core of the rest of the communicators, so that's kind of cool. This group doesn't need to be in there either. So the way I'm doing this is kind of by exclusion, right? I have to sneeze. There. Bless me. Okay. Looking at the parts of the communicator that need to be dropped down, this section over here needs to be dropped down. So we're going to grab it in its isolation, right? I'm going to bring it, this section, just this section, down to here. There. So that puts this entire left section lower than all the rest of these pieces here, which makes some sense. That means we're just excluding those pieces. So if we look at this through the, there we go, all of that is now excluded, which actually works. All of this section right through here, we're not going to worry about it. It's just going to be one piece underneath the bottom there. We're just going to seal it all in. Hey, George. How you doing, bud? See what we're doing? See the work that your feet are all wet. You've been in the shower. You're a good cat, though. George is here for everybody who visits my show, who says hi to George. Here's George. Hey, George. How are you doing today? Why are your feet all wet? You know, you're a weird cat. George is a weird cat. George really likes to be in the shower. Okay. So now we're looking at like all of the bottom pieces here. Everything I feel like is kind of connecting very nicely to the side of things. I can take this guy, and this guy, and put a face in here. And yeah, see, that's why it's because your paws are all wet, goober. And then that locks us kind of into this is starting to build the underside. Right here. See some extra stuff right here. I don't even know what that is. almost looks like there's a double tap there or something. I don't know. Anyway, we're going to have to do this with the entire ring. So we're going to grab these guys and like the counterparts over here and do F and put in faces and stuff like that. Be careful though, as you grab the back and things won't go well. So we'll have to do that at some point. It'll be easier in certain areas than others. This area here, for example. Right? This area is easy. It just has a face there, like that. And then we'll have to do something about this part, which now has crossed over, but then we'll get there. We'll get there. Okay, so we need this to be watertight so that it'll print properly, and that's what we're doing next, is starting to think about how we're going to make this watertight. We've lowered all of these pieces so that they are out of the way of this ring. The primary reason we're doing that is to seal things up. Like I see, for example, this part here is actually attached to the outer ring. Which makes me think I don't need these faces right through here. Just seal all of this up as one unit, right? It doesn't need to go in here at all. So that's where we are at this point. We've got about 3 minutes left. I know that sometimes you guys join me late, and I'll be sorry whenever if I cut this short and you guys just show up late and it'll be like, oh man, I'm so sorry, guys. Yeah, I feel like these guys. Oh, wait, before I delete them, I should select them and see if they want to go back up to the upper surface. And I think they do. I think they want to be up here. They don't need to be deleted because deleting that wall wouldn't have helped us any. Right? There we go. So that's what we're doing here. That works. They don't need to be deleted. They need to be moved up. Moved up into this wall. Right there. And that works because that makes it fine. Then this guy, this guy, this guy, and this guy will make a face, right? That'd be that face right there. I feel like you selected the wrong things because I see a crossed face. Oh, man. All of this is always interesting. It's never a dull moment. Except whenever you're watching this, then it's a dull moment. Okay, these two guys need to be moved back. Just enough that I've got breathing room in here so I can see what I'm doing. Because I need to go here and go here. Make sure you're looking at it when you make a face. I made a face, and I was looking at you. because in my heart of hearts, just like all of us, I'm 12. Okay. It's just the way it goes. Never grow up. We could always grow old. You never want to grow up. I think I saw a quote. It's probably one of those random Facebook quotes. Growing old is mandatory. Growing up is not. I love that quote. All right. So that's sealing that section. Let's see how we've done that. Now we've sealed in that section. We'll go all the way around doing this at some point. But I'm probably going to go on ahead and say this is tedious and repetitive. And there's no reason. If you guys are watching, I'm not getting a lot of traffic over here, and I'm not seeing anybody watching the show. So I don't have Pepper. I don't know where Pepper went. I think Pepper forgot, which is okay. There's absolutely nothing wrong with that. Pepper was with me on Wednesday and everything like that. The one thing I do want to say is, don't do that. Do that. The one thing I do want to say is I'm going to go on ahead and either do a short show or take Monday off. I think I'm probably going to take Monday off simply because it's Martin Luther King Day and my family has the day off, and I think it'd be fun for our family to go do something since we have that opportunity. So I won't see you guys on Monday, but I will see you guys on Tuesday, and we'll be back here. I'm going to be continuing on Tuesday with our Silver Pentacle pictures because I only have 2 of them left. I turned in illustration number 4. They loved it. They're fine with it. So we're going to move on to illustration 7 and 8, which are the last 2 illustrations of the book. And then they'll be done. And then that project can close. And that'll be great. So this is part of my 2021 resolution to clear all of my projects before I start any new commissions. I will be opening commissions at some point here, like in February, because the idea is to clear all of this stuff out, and that's what I'm trying to do. I have a lot of old open commissions that are holding, and really we just need to put in a couple hours a day, and they'll be done. So I'm going to clear all my commissions out, and that's my New Year's resolution, if you will. So once again, I'm going to go on ahead and head on out and continue doing this tedious work without you having to be watching it, because it seems like that seems really tedious and boring. We're just going to have to go around and tie up this model, and that's okay. But it looks good and everything's fine. So what we'll do is that. In the meantime, I will see you all later. I'm going to go on ahead and just prep to finish this. And remember to have a good weekend and keep your eyes on the stars. Bye-bye.